Yo!
Yo.
What's going on, loyal listeners? It's Mike Cooley and Brad O'Brien for the Snapcast podcast. Thanks again for joining us this week. We're just going to jump into it, man.
So we should own up. This is a recut. We had a little audio issue while we were recording the podcast today, So
the intro you're hearing is a little different than the intro that was recorded earlier. But, I mean, we were so pissed, we almost redid the whole Snapcast after this. But, like, it was just so good. You guys got to hear this. Like, you guys really got to hear this. We're talking about all of the new abilities that are coming in with Ikoria. And, everything from mutate to companion to the new ability counters and more. So, thank you so much for putting up with our
crap audio this week. And
thanks for tuning into the Snapcast, man. So, without further ado, now we're going to transition to the actual podcast that we recorded 5 minutes ago and fucked the intro up for. So, without further ado, here you are.
I will say this. First and foremost, I'm smoke-free for like 9 hours today, dude.
That's awesome, man.
It's been fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie, man. It makes me wonder, though, all throughout the day, like, what the fuck did I do before when I didn't smoke? You know what I mean?
When did you didn't smoke?
It had to have been like 9-10 years ago now. Yeah. Like, what the hell did I do? Like, I remember laying on the bed today, I'm like, working remotely from home, typing up some cool stuff, and like, I just had that craving. I was like, man, I gotta smoke. And then I'm like, what would I have done right there in that moment 10 years ago?
You would not have even thought of it.
I probably wouldn't be there working remotely, and we wouldn't be in the middle of an apocalypse, but it's hard to compare, but at the same time, it just makes me wonder. I'm like, what the hell did I do before? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the same thing with dieting and stuff, where you're like, oh, what do people do that don't spend half their day poking around in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
This whole working from home thing is weird, where I have access to everything in my kitchen at my disposal basically all day.
So bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
I've been struggling. Like, I haven't gained any weight, but I have stopped losing weight. So this is fighting a movable object and all of that.
Brad has inspired me. First of all, congratulations to this guy, because some number of weeks ago he was almost 30 pounds heavier.
Yep.
And so you have lost nearly 30 pounds. Or is it over 30 pounds?
No, it's just about 30 pounds.
Just about 30 pounds, yeah. In what is it, 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks?
Probably now it's been 8 weeks, but
Yep.
I feel like, I swear to God, the last 2 weeks don't count. Life has been on hold since really early March. I talked with a buddy of mine on the phone last night for an hour, and just to have some sort of normality. And he had traveled actually out of state at the beginning of March. And he said since coming back from that vacation, everything has been screwed. Like, he hasn't had a normal week of work. He hasn't had a normal day of work. Hasn't had a normal day where you wake up and think, can I go to the supermarket today? Can I go to work today? Am I supposed to go to work? What am I supposed to do? Like, it's been a month.
Yeah. Just so crazy, man. So I just want to let you guys all know, first of all, congrats to Brad. That's so awesome, man. You have inspired me. I tried to do the same thing. I lost about 10 or maybe 15, depending on how really heavy I was before I started weighing myself. But the same thing happened, man, around this same time, like 2 weeks ago. I'm not losing weight anymore. It's just impossible. And as a fair warning to everybody out there, I've been smoke-free for like almost 10 hours now, so...
He gets a little excited,
or if my mood is not understood easily, that's why. Okay? just letting you know, just bringing you into the realm, all right? So, yeah. Have you guys seen these new released cards from Ikoria for Magic the Gathering? holy shit, man. If you're anything like us, you have a ton of questions as soon as you start reading these cards. Like, you can't just start reading these cards and be like, oh yeah, I get it.
No.
This is probably some of the most fucking complicated abilities I've ever seen randomly just printed on a new set. Like, that was the first feeling that I got reading down through. I was like, I'm so confused by all these new abilities, and I need to do my homework. I need to understand all of what's going on, because I felt that feeling of confusion upon reading them. It was kind of overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Did you get the same feeling?
I did, but thankfully Wizards goes out of their way whenever they release a new set. Again, I know a lot of our listeners are really enfranchised players. For anybody that's not, the Wizards of the Coast magic.wizards.com homepage has some great primers on all the mechanics in Ikoria. Do we want to catch some of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All
we
right,
have this. Brad got a new computer here this week, and we're now able to show you basically what we're looking at. So we may try that out here this episode, and potentially flash back and forth between what we are seeing on our screen, so that we can quickly show it to you, which is really cool for the people who are watching YouTube. But we're still going to do our best to explain this to someone who might be listening on iTunes or any of our other places that we're broadcasting this podcast. So, but yeah, nice little feature. So one of the big things that I was taken by, and I tried to hold myself back until I learned more about the ability, but at first I was ready to be fucking pissed, dude.
Oh, we're jumping way ahead.
I was ready.
You want to talk about mutate?
Dude, let's just jump into it. Everybody else, all the rest of the shit is so easy to understand. Cycling, it's coming back. Like,
okay. For players that have never heard of it, though, cycling is a keyworded ability that lets you discard a card for a certain mana cost to draw another card. It's not a spell. It can't be countered. It can't be interacted with. Okay.
it can. It actually uses.
So it's a, what? Can you
activated?
stifle it?
Yeah, you can stifle a cycle.
You can't counter it.
It's the old Gem Palm incinerator card conundrum. Like, when do you stifle? Do you stifle the cycle or do you stifle the trigger? Always stifle the cycle.
Nobody's fucking playing stifle. But cycling is a very popular mechanic. It's coming back into Magic. One of the impacts that this may have is that living end players and the other cycling decks that have existed are going to get new cards. That may be something to look at. Okay.
Yeah.
Keyword counters. I'm not letting you jump right into mutate.
All right, dude. All right. You guys are going to have to wait for my hate on mutate.
I don't know if you know that Mike also has his own YouTube channel where he may have busted a rhyme or two in his day.
Back in the day, man. Yeah, I used to do that. I used to, I feel like that was around the time that I stopped doing that and then I picked up smoking. So I think we got our answer here as to what I used to do.
Yeah. Keyword counters.
I just instantly started busting rhymes now that I haven't been smoking for the last... Man, we freaking solved this. We solved this puzzle.
Y'all know what a keyword is. It's an ability that you can sum up in one word that a creature may possess. What if you could give a creature a keyword? That's the concept of keyword counters. Instead of a +1/+1 counter or an age counter or versus an ice counter, we got a little correction on our little video from last week when we were talking about the cumulative upkeep counters.
It's a time counter is what it is.
Okay.
Or is it an age counter?
I think it's an age counter.
I believe I called it a time counter.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta look it up. If Andy has the balls to come and be like, you know what, you fucked up, he probably did his research and I'm just gonna trust him on it. It's an age counter.
These counters are keyword counters. And we haven't seen all the cards that have them yet, but we're looking at one here called Fully Grown. It's an instant that gives a creature +3/+3 and puts a trample counter on it. So it will only have the giant growth until end of turn, but it will retain trample as long as the creature exists.
Yeah. We just put a counter on the card, and then it always has the ability. It's kind of cool, actually. They have these little counters that the little punch-out counters that they're printing with these things. And it's kind of funny. They have the name on them, like, they'll have Menace and First Strike and Hexproof and whatnot. But the symbols look nearly identical to what you would see on Arena. So, like, when you see a card on Arena and it has, hexproof or whatnot, it has that little triangle with the circle around it. That's exactly the counter that they've printed. So, like, you can jam it on your real card now, and it has hexproof just like in Arena. So they're kind of melding the two there.
When two worlds combine.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like the idea.
I like the idea that this whole set is all about they're finding ways for you to create your own monster.
Yeah. Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear, man.
All the
This is
kids
what it's
love
all
that
about.
shit.
Exactly.
All right, mutate. What you hate. Get
Are we
irate.
ready? All right, dude. So I will say this. I was ready to hate on this ability. And until I did my research and I did my homework and we figured out how it works, and I suddenly no longer hate mutate. It's actually kind of cool. This is why, I'll tell you this though, if you're anything like us and you were first reading through mutate and you were looking at it, you were like, you might have had the same question. Like, both of us were kind of looking at each other like, and we had this one question. We were like, why the hell would you print an ability that plays right into Brazen Borrower? Like, one of the most popular, expensive cards in the format right now. Oh, sure, let's just print an ability that makes makes it so you want a 2-for-1, and run Brazen Borrower and 2-for-1 your opponent with this new ability. I was so happy to hear, and we're sharing this with you now officially. This works more like Bestow, in the sense that it does not, if the target leaves that mutate is trying to attach onto, it still enters the battlefield. So we might have got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's explain for the people that might not have seen it yet what the new ability mutate is, right? It reminds us a lot of Bestow. So usually it's an ability that a card has, and it will read, if you scroll down to one of those pictures, I might be able to just read it directly. It's usually a discounted cost, but it's an ability that is on the card, and it says, if you cast this spell for its mutate cost, put it over or under target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top, plus all abilities under it.
So lots of choices.
So many words.
There's
so many words in reference. I was so confused. This is just one ability. Trust me, there's more in this set.
And there are a lot of words on this. One of the ones that always perks up my ear is human. So you can only mutate non-humans. Maybe we'll talk about that more later. But when you pair it, you have to, in order to mutate, there has to be another creature that you control. To be a legal target to cast the mutate spell. But the biggest thing, and this is what Mike was referring to a second ago, is what happens if you go to cast this spell for its mutate cost, and the creature that you were targeting is removed from the battlefield. Well, you are no longer mutating, but your spell resolves as the creature. So on something like the one that we were just looking at, the Cloud Piercer, the mutate cost is only 4. If you're going to give some other creature reach, or you're going to mutate something, and they Brazen Borrow the other creature up in response, or they use a removal spell or something,
you still get a 5/4 reach jam in the battlefield for 4 mana.
Yeah.
Like, that is so cool. I am so pumped about it, and it kind of had to be that way. I remember reading this ability, and I'm like, there's no way you just printed that, a huge keyword ability in this set, all to have Brazen Borrower become the best card in the format instantly.
Jeez, I wonder if you can break that yourself. There is an unsummon in the set. I mean, there is an unsummon in Standard that, like, you could go to mutate your own thing and with the spell on the stack, bounce your other creature back to your hand.
That's a good point, and I'm curious to see what else they print that we could keep that in mind and possibly do it. But most of the cards that they've printed that have mutate, they do something when they mutate. So it's very crucial that a lot of them actually mutate when they hit the board.
Yeah, this Zagoth Mamba is a pretty cool one.
Yeah. So it's a 1-drop 1/1. And it's a nightmare snake. They've been loving these snakes lately, man.
Snake.
Just printing these snakes. Whenever this creature mutates, target creature and opponent controls gets -2/-2 till end of turn. So how does it work?
You can mutate multiple times in a turn. Because you can put this Zagoth Mamba on the battlefield on turn 1, and then on turn 2 or 3, whenever you can play your next mutate creature, you target this, it mutates, you give your opponent's creature -2/-2. But if you could cast 2 mutate spells in a turn, you could spread those out multiple times, or give something -4/-4, it could stack.
Absolutely. We'll break it down very simply here too. Like, there's so much that goes on in this one ability, it's not even funny. Like, so much new stuff to understand. One of the first things is, do you remember the keywords about top or bottom?
Oh yeah.
Like, this was so hard to wrap my head around. So when you mutate something, mind you, it's sort of like bestow. So imagine you're bestowing something onto a creature that's already on the battlefield, right? Now, instead of just enchanting that creature like what bestow does, right? You either choose top or bottom for this card, right? And when you mutate, if it's on top, the creature's power and toughness that is on top, along with all their abilities, is that creature. It's the name of that creature. It's the power and toughness of that creature.
CMC.
It's the CMC, exactly.
Yeah.
So the one that's on top is that creature. Like, suddenly the creature becomes that creature. But you can choose to put it on bottom as well. You know what I mean? Like, you can choose to not have it become that creature, but add its abilities to another creature. So that's the kind of the big thing there is, you know, if you want the power and toughness to increase with the creature and the CMC, put it on top. If you just want to add the abilities to whatever creature you're trying to mutate on, add it beneath. It's a really interesting ability. So my question is, if it disappears, if the target that you're trying to mutate disappears while it's on the stack, great, like, it still enters the battlefield. What about after it's mutated?
After it's mutated, it's one creature and they die together.
Really? Do we know that for certain? We're looking this up right now. In fact, this could be a good... Are you clipping this?
Yeah. If
Oh,
a
man.
mutated creature leaves the battlefield, all of its components go to the appropriate zone. So if it dies, each card ends up in the graveyard.
No kidding.
If there are any death triggers, they trigger once. Same
So
with
if they-
exile.
So if they get bounced, they all go to your hand.
If it's put into a specific position in your library, such as the bottom or third from the top, you choose the relative order of the cards third from the top.
I already know what card.
Teferi.
I already know.
Yeah.
We got some cards we're gonna
talk
suggest. Yeah,
Okay.
I just already know. Wow, man.
So the last new mechanic is called Companion. Companion is friggin' weird.
Yep.
It's a card at quality or element that will be on a creature. So I'll scroll up, bring this guy up. Karuga the Macro Sage, 3 Simic, legendary creature, dinosaur, hippo, companion. Every companion creature has a deck building restriction. They're going to say your starting deck can only have XYZ. So for this creature, it says the starting deck can only contain cards with CMC 3 or greater and lands. Now, you see Karuga the Macro Sage is a 5-drop. But he's not, if you're using his companion ability, if you're playing him as a companion, he's not in your starting deck, he's in your sideboard.
Kinda. Like, he's outside the game, right?
No, he counts as one of your sideboard cards.
Ah, yes. In Wow, yep, you're right.
In a
every
60
format.
player, in standard, Pioneer, whatever, in a 60 card format.
Yep.
He's in your sideboard. What Mike is bringing up is that you can play this guy in Commander. Now, you could play him as your commander, or you could play him for free as a 101st card because he lives outside of the game, but is legal. But your commander deck, your EDH deck, has to still live up to the rules that he puts on your original deck. So, and your commander is counted as part of your 100.
Mm-hmm.
So, your commander has to cost 3 or greater. Every card in your commander deck would have to cost 3 or greater if you wanted to include Ikoria as a companion to your EDH deck. But in standard, he would be in your sideboard. So you're reducing your sideboard, but you're adding a 61st card that you can play from outside the game.
It's like a card that's already tutored for you.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
I haven't looked through a lot of these yet, so I don't know if there's one out there that's just automatically broken. We're going to look through some of the spoilers in a minute.
Yeah, and we don't know all of them either. Like, this is just the first day of spoilers right here. So, I mean, there could very well be awesome ones that have yet to come, and we won't see them till later on. But, just to recap, Companion basically places a deck building restriction on your deck and allows you, if you meet that deck building restriction, to cast that card once from outside the game. So, really cool. For anyone wondering, yes, you can play these in Commander. It has to be within your Commander colors. So you can't have a Commander that's like blue-green and then a companion that's like red-green and think that you can play Teamer colors. You can't. Like, the companion has to follow your Commander's identity. And you can only have one companion. So
One thing that I want to point out here, just because, again, the keyword human jumps out at me. The very last sentence on this is, as a puny human, you may be hopelessly outclassed by the monsters roaming Ikoria, but at least you won't have to fight alone.
they put that in there purposely, man.
I'm saying, I think we're going to see some humans.
Jesus.
Leaf and I are getting excited because it's starting to sound like it's humans versus monsters, and the companions are monsters that'll work with you. We're not taping over there yet.
No. Okay. What about there are some humans that they've released so far, but they're really huge mana costed ones. So I'm hoping they're not all like that. Because if they are, the humans will definitely be outclassed by all these beasts. Like, if they all cost like 5 or 6 mana and they're 2/2s that do something cool when something else happens. Like, yeah, okay. Take this 6/6 for 5 mana, mutate, trample, flying. Does some cool shit when it mutates. Like, they're gonna get outclassed. There are some really cool cards though that they've released. If you guys haven't noticed this, they've brought Godzilla into this set. Like, I'm not sure if anyone's checked out the spoilers. If you guys don't know the site to check for the spoilers, though, go to mythicspoiler.com. That's just the place to go. I'm sure there are other sites, but this is just the most reliable. I'm pretty sure everybody in our group goes to Mythic Spoiler. So if you didn't know about that, now you do. But and it's also very up to date. Like, usually within 20 minutes of a card being spoiled, it's up on Mythic Spoiler.
Yeah.
They have some great cards. This is just the first day, April 2nd, 2020, of them spoiling cards for Ikoria. And they have some really cool ones. Brad, you took an affinity to one of these cards right off the bat.
I did. Sprite Dragon.
Uncommon.
I don't know why.
Blue-red.
I'm not really. I don't think of myself as a blue-red mage, but I really have liked playing these blue-red decks. A 1/1 for 2. 1 blue, 1 red. It is a creature, fairy dragon. Flying in haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon.
This is prowess.
Spells matter, man.
This is prowess that never goes away.
Yeah.
So, what was the card? Storm Chaser Mage or Storm Chaser something? That it used to be in Standard and was a pretty good
Storm
card.
Chaser Mage. Yeah.
Storm Chaser Mage, yeah. And it used to be in standard, was played here and there, and was a pretty decent card. This is Storm Chaser on crack right here, man.
Oh.
This is insane.
This was the first one that I looked at and I'm like, well, that'll be underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, Storm Chaser Mage. Same cost for a 1/3 flying haste with prowess, but it doesn't get counters, man.
So here's the thing, technically, if you mutate something onto this card, mutating something is casting the spell.
But
it's a creature.
It's still a creature spell.
Okay, never mind.
Good thought.
Yep.
Good thought.
Yep. You
like
saw
where
where I was going. I wasn't
did.
sure if it was 100% a non-creature, but it seems like it must be a creature spell when you mutate.
Man, what's this companion?
Holy shit. This is new. This is a new one. I haven't seen this today. Okay, so we're looking at Yumori, the Collector. It's a hybrid green and a hybrid black. Two hybrid green black and 2 colorless. For a 4/5, I like it already. Companion. So here's the deck building restriction around this ability. Each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. So this has to be in a tribal deck. And here's what it does. As this guy enters the battlefield, choose a card type. Spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast.
Man, if the only problem that I have with this is it doesn't have red in it. If it had Jund colors, I would be so excited for Ooze Tribal.
Trash. This card's trash.
You just shut your mouth, sir.
This card's
You can't
trash.
play Bloodhall Ooze with it. I'm so upset. Like, I want Ooze Tribal, and I want all my Oozes to cost 1 less to cast.
Here's my problem with it, right?
Yeah.
So, I can't run Abrupt Decay in this deck. I can't run Assassin's Trophy in this deck, in my commander deck that might have this, right?
Nope.
I can't run those.
Nope.
In a main deck, I can't run those cards. Like, if I'm playing this in standard, I can't run some of the most powerful removal in standard right now, Assassin's Trophy. Can't run that in my green-black deck.
What if you were instant tribal?
Wait a minute. You might be right. Each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. I didn't think of that. It could just be all instants.
Choose a card type. It doesn't say a creature type.
No? But they all have to be the same card type. So...
I suggest instant tribal.
What about...
And if you're playing this in standard, you don't have to worry about the color restriction. It's not like Commander where everything has to be under the color rules.
What about lands and Legacy? I feel like this could potentially be good in busted decks like that.
So you've got
Where it's all
you cast in
instants.
lands, Life from the Loam.
Yep, and actually, Punishing Fire too. So there's an instant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to pick
I
one.
don't know. It seems really weird. I guess this deck building restriction is extremely weird to me. Like, if I'm running creatures, I can't run removal. If I'm running removal, I had better run all instants or sorceries or whatever my removal is.
Yep.
God, that's so weird.
So one of the cool things is when they print cards like this that are we just are like, I don't get it. What does this do? You know what this You know what this becomes? Inverter of Truth.
You think so?
Well, think about I'm not making a direct correlation. I'm saying when Inverter of Truth got printed, people were like, this is a friggin' mythic. This is garbage. What the hell can you do with this? This card does nothing. This card is stupid. Wizards, you're idiots and you don't know how this game works. And then, like, 5 years later, somebody goes, I wonder if I do this and this. Oh, hey, let's make a tier 1 archetype that dominates a format. This will be Umori the Collector in 5 years if we don't figure it out sooner.
God. So here's one with the ability Companion, and they've already banned it. Newsflash, they've already banned this in a certain format. And this is coming from our friend Andy, who has sent us some information about, was it the Commander Committee, basically?
Yeah, the Rules Committee.
Yeah, the Rules Committee on this, on their Discord. Like, I'm not sure if this is officially on the site yet, but there has been talk, and it's going to happen. Lutri the Spell Chaser will be banned in Commander.
Yeah.
Just digest that for a minute. What the fuck? Seriously.
Come on, you guys. Can't we have any fun?
This card isn't even printed yet. And you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh man, this is unlike any other card that we've ever seen in Magic. Literally, they say that. Are you kidding me? Like, that's what they're trying to do. They print these all the time. Cards that are new, that are not like anything that we've ever seen. And just because you're scared of them, you're going to ban it in Commander? Like, all it does is copy an instant or sorcery spell, right? Here's what the card does. Lutri the Spell Chaser. 2 hybrid blue or red and 1 colorless. So 3 total mana. Here's the companion deck building restriction, right?
Hold on. Don't skip the creature type.
It's a fucking otter. I shit you not. There's an otter on this card. It's an elemental otter. And he's in the water. And he's an otter, and he's just clapping his hands, throwing some lightning and shit. He looks cool as shit, I'm not gonna lie, right?
Yeah.
So, here's the deck building restriction, right, with this companion card. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. There you go, so you just have to be playing Commander, is basically what this says. Yep, Commander or Brawl. And if you are, and this creature is your companion, right? This is listen to this. This is what they consider ban-worthy in Commander right now. You can literally fork a spell.
Goose forever. Yeah, so you can copy a spell.
Yep. Like, fork. Okay, cool. Like, I can do it once.
Yeah.
They really jumped the gun on this, man.
Well, and they said in the text that we got from Andy, they did say that they may consider unbanning it. I would say, look at the price on this, either just at release or even leading up to release. If that preemptive ban put the kibosh on it, like people are not going to play this in Standard, people are not going to play this in Pioneer, where you have to be playing this in a singleton format. I would say score a foil just to have, if you're into that sort of thing, or a non-foil if you're into that sort of thing, loser. Because if they ever do unban it, it will be a staple. It will be if you're in any kind of blue-red spells deck, you'll have it because you can play it from outside the game. So you have a fork that you've tutored.
True.
For 3.
True. Okay, here's my reservation about this, right? They haven't even released the whole set yet.
Mm-hmm.
What if they release something that's more busted than this card, and then nobody ever plays this card?
You're not getting more busted than an elemental otter. It's an otter, for God's sake.
It's just so ridiculous. Like, to me, okay, yeah, fork. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's okay. If I happen to cast a nasty spell, I can copy it for 3 mana.
Counter.
Like, come on, man. It's just, I don't know. I don't think. Granted, I'm not saying it's a bad card. It's definitely good. I would definitely run it in some of my commanders. But is it something that, if I'm genuinely playing against this in Commander, I'm like, oh, that's so oppressive and hard to deal with. We should ban this, and this should not be in the format, and I'm gonna go cry. No, I'm not. Like, that's a little much to go and ban this right out of the gate before it's even
Moving
released.
on.
Yeah, fuck you, committee that's making these rules. Now moving on.
Somebody give this man a cigarette.
I swear, man, that's what it is. I'm like
It's really
fired
hard
up.
to do. It's really hard to do.
I'm fired up right now. You guys are catching it.
You going cold turkey and you're done, or what?
I don't know, dude. It's sort of like I can't promise you that I'm not going to smoke ever again. I can just promise you it won't be during this podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
We may take a safety break. I like this one. Polliwog Symbiote. 1 and a blue creature frog. I'm keen on frogs. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has mutate.
It's not bad. Allows you to ramp up 2 mana. Good old 1/3. Polliwog the creature frog.
Polliwog the creature frog. Oh my god. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has mutate, draw a card, then discard a card. So now, if you're casting a card and paying its mutate cost, are you casting a creature spell?
I think we just kind of inherently determine that we are. Otherwise, your new Storm Chaser mage would get a +1/+1 counter, and it probably won't. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So, if it has mutate, draw a card and discard a card. So it's Loot Frog.
Mm-hmm. Polliwog the Loot Frog. Love it. We got a new name on this, man. That one's gonna stick. I'm telling you.
Anything else that you've been like?
Yeah. You can't miss these guys. Okay, so first of all, we had talked about Godzilla being brought into this format. All right, we kind of got off on saying FUs to everybody that's making rules and shit. But let's go back to that for a minute, okay? They're bringing Godzilla into this set. Brad, how do you feel about that, man? I shit you not, okay? Go look this up on Mythic Spoiler.
They are calling
a card Godzilla King of the Monsters.
No, it's not.
It's
called Zilla Ortha, Strength Incarnate.
But they did this. They wrote the name of it as Godzilla King of the Monsters. I know technically it's called something else.
Yeah, this is a buy a box promo.
Yep.
That they put Godzilla's name on it and Godzilla art on it, but the whole rest of the text of the card is that of the card that's as printed in the set, Zilortha Strength Incarnate. I think Godzilla would be bigger than a 7/3.
I would think so too, but then again, technically he's a 7/7 because lethal damage, his ability is lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness.
Right, but this is all sorts of screwy, and I've already been in an internet disagreement about this because it's lethal damage dealt to creatures you control. So the damage is being dealt to your creature.
Mm-hmm.
What kills your creature is determined by their power rather than their toughness. So you're saying it's a 7/7 because its power is 7, so it takes 7 damage to kill it?
Yes, it can take 7 damage to kill it. However, a dismember will get rid of the thing.
Or a bolt of some variety.
No, a bolt will not get rid of it because a bolt is damage, and lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness. Think of the reverse of Dorian the Siege Tower.
And this is what I was saying where, like, if I swing this in to Dorian, and Dorian deals combat damage according to its toughness, Dorian should do 5 damage, right?
Correct. He'll do 5 damage to Godzilla.
And it takes 7 damage to kill Godzilla, is what we're saying.
Correct. Godzilla will not die.
All right. So when I was on the internet earlier and I told Arcades, the strategist players, to get bent, maybe I was right. We'll wait for it. But either way, there had to be a better way for them to write that.
Maybe they thought you were controlling Godzilla and Dorian the Siege Tower because then he would be a 3/7 legitimate.
Well,
he would be a 3/7 legitimate.
Not big dink energy. That's not what I'm expecting from Godzilla.
Not at all, man. But, okay, so how do you guys feel about that? They're literally bringing some pop culture into Magic. Wouldn't be the first time they've done it, but, Brad had mentioned... What else did they bring in? They brought in...
I brought in My Little Pony.
What the fuck? I didn't even know about that, man.
They brought in... they had the set that had the Sword of Dungeons and Dragons. They brought Dungeons and Dragons, and they brought in Transformers. They did an Optimus Prime card.
Wasn't that in like a joke set though? Wasn't it in the...
No, that was in like a Comic-Con promo or something that you could only buy in a special event.
Right. Okay. So yeah, a special set.
Yeah. So the logical evolution is they're going to start to bring that stuff into.
All right.
Buy a box promos.
All right.
Here's the thing. I mean,
Does Hasbro own Godzilla too?
Who the hell knows? I mean, they probably own the Vatican. Hasbro owns everything.
It's kind of like, if you think about it, they can do a lot of these crossovers, and this is kind of what it feels like to me. Like, it just feels like an odd crossover. Like, okay, yeah, you might have some Godzilla fans and aficionados, right? But where does this...
Hold on, you just coined a whole new word. Aficionados?
Yeah, that's a word. I'm pretty sure.
Aficionados.
Aficionados, motherfuckers. That's when you're an aficionado that also appreciates something.
Coffee and it's really good because it's espresso, and you're an aficionado of espresso coffee.
It's when you're officially an aficionado of something
that you appreciate.
Look at that. I don't fucking know. It sounded like a word. Sometimes I just say shit and hope it's true. I'm just kidding. Usually I do. Usually I do my research, but I don't know. With words, I feel like sometimes I don't know.
Language is arbitrary, man. You can make up words.
That's right. Technically, what was it? Dord was a made-up word in the English language for the longest time, just because someone made a spelling error over at what the fuck, the dictionary place. Webster's, yes. Someone made a spelling error, and Dord was a legitimate word for like 20 years or something. It was supposed to be D or D. But someone smashed the letters together. I shit you not, and Dord was a word. So either way, if that isn't a word, it should be aficionado.
So how do you feel about them having a crossover with Godzilla as the buy a box promo? I happen to know that one Mr. Chandler really likes it. He's super excited about it. He posted. He was the first person I saw that posted about it. He was excited. He thought, "Is this going to be an April Fool's thing? Is this actually happening?" And then when it was officially announced, he was, "Woo!"
Oh yeah. No, they dialed down on the April Fool's stuff this year. A lot of companies did. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but this has been one of the weakest April Fool's weeks ever. Just because everybody's kind of too scared to throw some jokes out there, man. Like, there's people taking names of April Fool's jokers out there, and no one wants to be on the list. But with everything going on, it's not a good time
to be messing around with people's emotions.
But yeah, this is no April Fool's joke, man. This is legitimate. They're renaming a card temporarily for a buy a box promo to Godzilla King of the Monsters, and that card is Zalortha Strength Incarnate.
It's an interesting design. Let's just talk about a couple more of these.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so first of all, best card spoiled so far as of April 2nd, 2020, Vivianne, Monsters Advocate. By far, best card spoiled, okay? 5 mana. We're talking about a Planeswalker here. Has anyone played, what is it called? Mastery of the Forge? It's in my friggin' artifact deck that I play in Modern. I should know this. Mystic Forge.
Yeah.
If anyone's ever played Mystic Forge, and you know how busted that card is, and how really, really far it can put you ahead, think of that card on a Planeswalker that does other stuff, and can ultimate the turn she comes out. Like, hear this out, okay? 5-drop Planeswalker, okay? So, 1 more mana than Mystic Forge, but it does the same thing. Like, you can cast the top card of your library. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You can cast it if it's a creature, right? So basically what Mystic Forge does, but for creatures, right? And as you would expect, green. Like 2 green, 3 colorless, 5-drop Planeswalker. And then it does all this other cool shit, man. +1, it protects itself. A key ability of any good Planeswalker. Does it protect itself? Yes, it does. +1, put a 3/3 green beast creature token into the battlefield. It gains your choice of one of these new keyword counters, right? You can either give it a counter for Vigilance, Reach, or Trample, which is insane.
Yeah,
Reach.
so if your opponent has flyers, you can make a 3/3 with Reach.
Reach. It protects itself, man. This card is so good. And then it comes out with 3 loyalty counters and can ultimate. The next ability is its ultimate. It only has 2 abilities. But it can ultimate technically the turn it comes out. I don't know if you'll ever be doing this, but it can. So -2, right, which would bring it to 1 loyalty. Ultimates and survives. When you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana costs, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. That's so dope. Can you imagine? You have infinite mana, so you just cast Vivianne Dude, cast a Walking Ballista for 50, go get a Emrakul the Eon Sword.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I mean, obviously this is just random shit that's popping in my head, but like,
yeah, I mean,
technically this stuff can happen.
Any kind of 2-card combo where you cast one creature and can go get the other creature for less, like cast a Kiki Jiki, go get a Resto.
Yeah.
In an Abzan deck.
Yeah.
Not Abzan, what am I saying? Naya.
Or how about you cast a Bloodbraid Elf, trigger on the stack for Cascade, you go and get some other card. Like, you know what I mean? A Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, I was going to
Like,
say Gruul Spellbreaker.
Yeah, I mean, there's one too.
Because I like that card. Might want to talk about that in a minute.
Absolutely.
So this for best card spelled so far. This is your pick.
Absolutely, dude. Vivianne, Monsters Advocate. If it comes out at a pretty decent price, I'm not sure what they have them at yet, but definitely pick them up, man. Definitely check them out. Are we moving on to cards that we think might go up based on all this BS?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one for you. You want me to just throw it out there?
Yeah, tell me.
Fucking Brazen Borrower, dude. Come on. They've literally, I shit you not, they printed an ability that plays right into the best card in the format. Like, the more that we've been talking about this and the more that I see how this all pans out, Brazen Borrower. So, for 2 mana, you can bounce someone's entire board now back to their hand because of this mutate ability. Yep, pick them up. And guess what? Because of this whole crisis we're in, because of everything with paper magic that's going on right now, Brad had pointed this out. These guys are about $10. You can buy Brazen Borrowers right now for about $10. Get them.
Yeah, I mean, they were $20, what, a month and a half ago. Then they announced the reprint. They dropped down to about $15.
Yep.
Now, with paper magic not being played as much, they're $10, $11 a piece.
If we're still doing that segment, best $10 you can spend this week,
This
a
is
Brazen
pretty
Borrower.
close, yeah.
Yep.
And this is definitely one where I think if you were to go on to a Facebook group or something like that and just say, hey, I'm looking for a playset of Brazen Borrowers for $40, you'd have somebody that would snap you off in a minute.
Now, for the keen investors that listen to this podcast, that are ballers on a budget, if you've already spent your $10 on 10x dystopias this week, wait till next week and grab this Brazen Borrower. But you're doing the right thing. You're doing good stuff listening to this podcast. Yeah, but look at this. Brad's bringing up eBay right now. And yep, you can get 4 of them for less than $40. I guess, a little over if you count shipping.
Yeah, like these are still priced high, so.
Yeah, these are going down.
That's the thing, like whoever did this is crazy.
Yep.
They're not going to get $25. Like, this must be an old post.
Look at this. There's 4X foils, and the bids are, granted there's 4 days left, but the bids are only at $13 for 4 foils Brazen Borrower.
Yeah.
Like, granted it won't close out at $13, but
The
at the
thing
same
is
time.
people really like these, that's what I was going to say, the alt arts.
Yep.
So, if I were buying these to foil them out for a deck, like, I wouldn't mind having one of these in foil for EDH.
Yeah. But just wait. Like, if you're on eBay right now checking these out with us, just wait.
Yeah.
This is gonna go down. You can go on TCG Player right now and get these for $10, and eBay will respond. They always do. People drop their prices based on TCG Player. This is new information right here. TCG Player has these for $10. These are going to drop significantly in the future. In fact, if you can sell or trade your Brazen Borrowers right now for what they used to be at $20 or $25, do it today, right now. if someone's willing to pay that. That's probably what all these people on eBay are doing. They're just like,
trying to find the last minute
let's
buyers.
Push all these out right here. But this card is a $10 card now, man. Like, according to tcgplayer.com. So,
a couple of cards that I wanted to talk about, just based on cards that are in the standard right now that you might want to mutate onto. Paradise Druid and Gruul Spellbreaker.
Shit.
So that Mike can't Brazen Borrower back to my hand.
Yeah, well, shit.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. Now I just spent me $40 on something that can't do nothing.
Gruul Spellbreaker is interesting. Like, that's another one that people have tried to play it in Modern. People have tried to Bloodbraid Elf into it. There isn't a whole lot of experimentation going on in Modern right now. But I would say, if not, snap this up for what's going to happen with Ikoria, because hopefully while Ikoria's in Standard, we'll be able to play Paper Magic again. But even just well, is that going to rotate out? It would be a card. It would be a card. So, if you don't have your playset at rotation, I would put this on your write this down list.
Yeah, and it's not really that expensive either. That's the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure you can get these for maybe 50 cents a piece, maybe $1. They're really cool though. For 3 mana, you got a 3/3, so it passes your vanilla test right there, and it has Trample and Riot, right? So there you go. Far surpasses your vanilla test. And then, hey, by the way, when it's your turn, Gruul Spellbreaker and you both have hexproof.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sick, man.
And you.
And you. You have hexproof on your turn.
Foils for $1 or $2.
Yep.
Non-foils for between 50 cents and $1.
That's pretty good, man. So possibly write this shit down or even snap this shit up. What the hell are you waiting for? It's a fucking foil for $1. And get that.
Like, I was playing the green-white enchantments deck a little bit in Standard. And nothing feels better than loading a bunch of enchantments up on your Paradise Druid. And I just imagine with this new bestow-ish mechanic where we're going to mutate creatures, if we see some crazy mutate things that are like mutated creature gets +4/+4, it's like, okay, well now I have a 6/5 Paradise Druid.
Well, that's exactly what happened to this card when Setessan Champion came out. Is people were just instantly slamming enchantments on it, and now people are going to be slamming this new mutate feature on it. So it's definitely a good target, but it makes you make a really interesting decision. Because if you tap it for mana to help you ramp into this mutate, it no longer has hexproof.
It's true. That's always a game where you're playing, like, does my opponent have the removal spell?
Right.
If they do, I get blown out. If not, I ramped. I get to do a more powerful thing a turn early.
Right, but yeah, exactly. That's the thing. With Paradise Druid, the fact that it has hexproof before you tap it for mana, there's no window in there when you tap that mana. And when you spend it, there's no window for your opponent to mess with that creature. So you're actually just casting a creature with mutate, 100% of the time for a discounted mana cost, even if they kill that Paradise Druid. So great, if they kill the Paradise Druid, they got rid of one of their removal spells, and your card still enters with mutate. So, bad timing on their part. They should have just waited, because that's the new trick with mutate, right? And this is why Brazen Borrowers is going to be so good. If you just wait for it to come into play, then destroy it. All of them die.
Mutate. Okay, yep. Resolves. Yep. Bounce the stack.
Bounce, destroy, exile, all of them go. Yeah, either way.
Big risks, big rewards.
But more of a reason to have something with hexproof on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good choice.
Cool, man. I'm excited about this set. I have been playing a little bit more Moto. I've been playing humans on Moto. I've been playing a little bit more Arena with this whole being stuck in the house. I know I was listening to another podcast. What are they called? MTG Fast Finance. They're an excellent finance-related podcast. Those guys are sort of saying what we said 2 weeks ago, honestly, which is, I don't know how much I want to recommend speccing on Paper Magic right now, because we don't know when Paper Magic's coming back, but I think our picks today were all reasonably safe.
Yeah. I mean, $1 foil, man.
Yeah.
Come on. If you ain't got $4 to throw away on a foil playset of these, what are you waiting on? What are you playing Magic for?
But they were talking about the online economy and when we're gonna get to play real Magic again. So keep playing online, keep looking at cards. I'm excited for this new set.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. Eventually, paper Magic is gonna come back. So, as tough as it might be right now, just know that. Just kind of remember, it will be back someday. So, when it is, we're gonna be ready.
We're gonna be here with you, celebrating, talking about cards.
Talking about, hey, you remember when you got those Allurans at dirt cheap prices during the apocalypse, and then they went up because they're on the reserve list, and it's a sick card? We'll be here with you, man. We'll be here all the way by your side.
You got anything else for us today?
That's it, man. I gotta piss really bad, so.
All right, well, you guys know, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify or Google, if you want to go and do a review or give us a rating, that actually helps out with these things a lot. Who knew? And the last thing I will leave you with is you can phantasmal image a creature with persist.
Wow.
Your phantasmal image gets persist. When it comes back,
It's a phantasmal image!
you can choose another target.
Oh, man. That's so good.
Talk to you next week.
That's so good. Does it come in with a -1/-1 counter?
No, because it's a totally different creature.
Wait a minute, though. Because the persist trigger is in the process of resolving. So it goes, go to the graveyard,
Yep.
trigger, it did not have a +1/+1
right.
counter.
So it comes
return
back.
it with a -1/-1 counter.
But it comes back as phantasmal image, copying a creature on the battlefield.
Yep.
So, my understanding is no, it doesn't.
I think it still has the -1/-1, but it's also whatever creature you choose. So it could be another creature.
Yeah.
It could be a Blightsteel Colossus with a -1/-1. You know what I mean?